The grizzly bear populations started leaving Yellowstone National Park this morning, and it is throwing the scientific community into a tizzy, wondering why they are leaving. Grizzly bears are not known to travel in herds like this all at once and great distances, and they are headed towards Salt Lake City, Utah. I reported earlier this week about the mountain lions that left Yellowstone. That was late last week that they started leaving, and they thought, okay, it's just the mountain lions. Why are they leaving? And now that the grizzly bears are all leaving, they are saying something is up. The animalages, creature critters, know something that maybe we don't. But it just goes to show you that nature is the great balancer. Yellowstone National Park are super concerned. They think that the bison might leave next. So they've hired a Dr. Remy Deemy to come in and investigate and try to figure out what's going on. No one can speak animal, right? But he is one of the closest that can understand what's going on by just sensing it from the animals. And so I'll report in part two as soon as I talk to Dr. Remy Deemy and he tells me what he believes is going on. Did you hear that last week, mysteriously, hundreds of mountain lions have been leaving Yellowstone National Park, headed south to Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's baffling the scientific experts of why would they be leaving all of a sudden? We've never seen this behavioral itch amongst the mountain lion populancers in any locale, in any state or geography. And it's not just one or two or three of them that are leaving. There's hundreds, and you can see these three just walking on the road south there towards Salt Lake City, Utah. There is a religious fellow there, a pastor named Tucker Tucketts, that's from the region, and he's saying, hey, this has been prophesied. This is a religious thing about lions leaving and gathering in the last days of the earth. And others are saying, no, it's not religious. It's just some creature critters sometimes feel compelled to regather. And so they might just be going to new territory to find new food, but I'm curious what you think of this all. It's just super mysterious.
Weird is going on. I don't know if you guys heard, but something weird is going on where tourists are catching troves of animals just leaving Yellowstone Park. At first it started with the bears, but now people are catching elks and bisons as well. Yeah, everybody sees it, right? But nobody is talking about why this is happening. Well, apparently Yellowstone just had an earthquake this month. On July 11, 2025, they got hit with a 2.7 earthquake. Now, that's not a big deal, but check this out. And on top of that, there has been this unusual swarm in Stanley, Idaho, which has been disturbing the peace in Yellowstone, okay? So this right here is having some type of effect on the animals, and I guess they can pick up on the vibration and under the ground. You gotta understand that these animals are the most grounded beings in nature because they don't wear Nikes, they don't wear Reebok, they don't wear Adidas, they don't wear Yays, none of that type of stuff. And we know nature communicates to us in forms of frequencies, vibrations, sudden shifts in the air and the water and whatnot, and they pick up on these vibrations and they're like, all right, it's time to get out of here, because y'all gotta understand, Yellowstone is a super volcano, right? And with all these volcanoes that's popping off lately, y'all don't think they know something is coming? They are literally warning us. So the question is, are the animals trying to warn us? Because it's not just one type, y'all. The bison, bears, and the elks, and this is instinct. This is ultra instinct, letting y'all know what's going on. So I would say to watch Yellowstone. I mean, y'all see it, man.
What would happen to the world if the Yellowstone volcano erupted? Most people don't know that there is a supervolcano beneath this lake, which is in Yellowstone Park, which is located in Wyoming, which is in the US. The Yellowstone volcano is absolutely massive, as it's 37 miles long, 18 miles wide, and 4 miles deep. It has experienced 3 major volcanic eruptions. First eruption was 2.1 million years ago, the second eruption was 1.3 million years ago, and the recent eruption was 631,000 years ago. So if it were to erupt, the surrounding states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming that are closest to Yellowstone would be affected by pyroclastic flows, while other places in the United States would be impacted by falling ash. The amount of ash would decrease with distance from the eruption site, and due to the smoke emitted into the atmosphere, a lot of sunlight would end up reflecting back into space. This means that the entire Earth would cool by at least 10 degrees for at least 10 years, which would hypothetically help global warming. So, what would happen to the...
There have been so many... Is the Yellowstone supervolcano about to erupt? There have been so many reports of all of these animals leaving the Yellowstone Park and heading south. We have everything from bison to bears in the middle of the street to even mountain lions leaving the park in herds. We even have elk. And sure, elk is fine to see in a bunch, but it's really not normal to see bears in a group leaving at the same time. There's even been packs of wolves being seen leaving the Yellowstone Park, and they're all heading south about 400 miles down to Salt Lake City. There's all these geysers going off randomly, and even the tour guides are saying that they've never seen anything like this in decades. Now, they've been talking about all this activity under the Yellowstone supervolcano, saying that it's abnormal and it's been over 600,000 years, and it goes off every 600,000 years. Here's a map showing what the ash clouds could look like, but there's all kinds of different maps showing what the ash cloud could look like after a supervolcano eruption. So I don't know, with all of this stuff happening, what do you think? Do you think the Yellowstone supervolcano could erupt anytime soon? Is the Yellowstone...
Shalom, shalom. First off, we give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Yahweh being the true name for Heavenly Father, Yahushai being the name for His only begotten Son, the Lord Igli calls God, and Jesus Christ. When we give double honors to our apostles, double honors to our elders, the great millstone, Natasha's truth and will well, and salutations to you, hopefully pushing this truth and honesty, sincerity. This is Buddy Wasap, who now listen to the spirit power, Yahweh Shai, the update end times and events. As you can see in the videos, you got a lot of strange activity going on as far as these animals migrating, and a lot of times when animals move like that, it's a sign that something big is going to happen. Now, all these videos are played, describe what would happen if the Yellowstone supervolcano erupted, which these are one of the many things that's going to take place in the last days, as far as the end times when the Lord brings judgment upon the earth. This is one of the many ways that people will die or perish, and it will happen. Okay, and this is in addition to, thermonuclear destruction that's going to take place, which is going to bring, the prophesied lake of fire upon the earth, which the epicenter of that lake of fire is going to be America, which is modern day Babylon the Great. Okay, according to prophecy, according to facts and history and what's been going on, this place fits the bill or the tab of being the great future Babylon the Great the Lord's going to bring judgment upon. This is the place spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. So this is one of the things that's going to happen. Now, with these animals moving, I don't know if this is a sign, meaning that Yellowstone is about to erupt, or it could just be an earthquake, a really bad earthquake that could hit the area. Okay, because earthquakes do hit Yellowstone regularly. That is a volcano, so it's normal to have earthquakes there, and they're usually under 3.0 earthquakes, like between 1 and 3. They happen regularly there. So that's not uncommon, but that hasn't caused the animals to massively migrate. With the regular normal earthquakes, they kind of just stay put out there. But the fact that they're starting to migrate away and you got packs of bears doing this, that ain't normal. That ain't normal, man. Okay, and it could be something even to where toxic fumes get released into the air in that region. So it's definitely something to take note of and keep an eye on, as we approach closer and closer and closer to the end of this thing. Everyone has to realize and accept that this is the end. We are living in the end time. So there's going to be a lot of dangerous things that's going to take place and happen in the earth. And America is about to start feeling a lot because they've been doing a lot of wickedness for hundreds of years now. This place is done, and it hasn't, paid for all the wickedness that's been going on. Nothing has really happened to this place. The last time big event that happened was something like that basically happened economically was, the Great Depression. And you did have Mount St. Helens that erupted too, which is further west, pretty much above California area. And that did cause a lot of damage, but that wasn't very, cataclysmic to affect the entire United States in a bad way. So nothing they haven't really felt anything here. Okay, and you can't say it was 9/11 because that was an inside job to get an excuse to go to war against Iraq and Afghanistan to get those resources. So something's going to happen. You're going to have war on U.S. soil. You're going to have a civil war that's going to break out. And you're also going to have things like this that are going to be taking place, man. And, your average everyday American will be affected. Okay? And this is just one supervolcano. There's multiple supervolcanoes, man, that can go off. And in the midst of these wars that are building up, especially at the peak of World War III, the Bible describes that they're going to shoot arrows against Babylon the Great. Okay. And we're going to get those scriptures as well that go into that. Well, those arrows are basically the prophet was describing what we've seen in his vision. But modern day, those arrows are missiles. Okay. And the scriptures say that all ye that bend the bow are going to shoot at her. So everybody that has missile capability are going to fire upon this place. And you can imagine that it will definitely probably set off these volcanoes. Just one nuclear bomb probably might not be enough to set this off. But if you got multiple nukes hitting this place, you can imagine that Mount St. Helens going off again. You got Yellowstone that would go off. And there's another volcano, I believe, in the west, like down towards Nevada area, New Mexico, that would erupt. So you're going to have all these cities that you're seeing on the screen right now being affected by this. And really the entire United States, from crop failures, breathing in the ash that's going to kill people too. Like I said, temperature drop. You're going to have basically a volcanic winter and a nuclear winter. So once the destruction happens, that's it. Okay, and everybody that was wicked, you're going to be left to go through all of this that you're seeing on the screen. Some of you are going to perish, in the immediate epicenter of the nuclear weapons blast. Others, you're going to perish from radiation burns and poisoning. And you got to deal with the volcanic ash and plum clouds and all that stuff, man. So this is going to be the Lord's destruction is going to be something that's going to be terrifying, okay? Terrifying. And we're seeing signs in the earth that the destruction is coming. It's definitely something to keep note of, with these massive migration of these animals moving out the park. Because the Lord, put spirits on animals, and they can see different spiritual things that we can't see with our eyes, but their eyes have the capability to see things, hear things. They get warnings. They move. You see birds that might massively move in flocks. Even when upcoming floods, sometimes I've seen accounts where like bears on a massive scale, like climbing up trees and stuff, and before hurricanes come to hit, you just see animals moving out the way. A lot of times them animals don't be there, over there in the southeast of the U.S., like on Florida area and stuff like that. Before them hurricanes come and hit that place, you got a lot of them animals. They get out of Dodge, man. They're gone. Them birds get out the way. Animals, they know the Lord sends spirits to let them know what's getting ready to happen. So that's something to really take serious, to be watching. If all these massive groups of bears and fucking mountain lions and elk, and wolves are getting out of Dodge. So, hey man, we're going to see what's going to happen. Keep in mind the scripture here is Isaiah 29:6. Thou shalt be visited of Yahweh of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire. So these are all the quote unquote natural disasters that are projected to hit in the last days. So, check the list here. Check it. It says thunder and an earthquake. What comes with earthquakes automatically is volcanoes. Those two go hand in hand. A volcano is created from an earthquake. Tectonic plates get collided, and it causes the molten lava to shift underneath the crust. All right, and that molten lava creates fumes and pressure, and it builds up. It builds up into like a mountain shape, and then explodes out the top. So that goes with it. Okay, it says, and great noise. That's an explosion from that is massive. Also, missiles and bombs going off in war. That's great noise, and brings fire and brings earthquake. It says with storm and tempest. You see the massive storms that hit Texas that caused the flash floods and killed hundreds of people. You're still trying to find bodies and still finding bodies today. And now you got another flood that just hit New Jersey. That flood is basically turning into catastrophic, man. Catastrophic, storm and tempest. Okay, you have the hurricanes that hit last year that caused all that massive destruction. You got all them tornadoes that started sweeping through parts of the Midwest or mid-east, you should say, too, as well. And tornadoes that hit a few months ago. It says, and the flame of devouring fire. So with volcano and nuclear weapons and wildfires, that's all of it. So this is something that says would happen in the end times. And we living in those times, man. So we're going to see these things. Okay? 2 Timothy 3:1 says, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Okay? This is a prophecy. And what does perilous mean? Full of danger or risk. Okay? Exposed to imminent risk of disaster or ruin. We're living in perilous times. We're living in the last days. So this is just one of many ways that, will come of death and danger. Is, volcanoes going off and earthquakes. All right. And you got massive earthquakes that's due to hit California. Okay, the San Andreas fault. And you got the New Madrid fault in the middle of the United States. That's once that erupts and that earthquake hits, that's enough to put most of the state of Missouri underwater in Kansas. So all these fault lines are going to be going off. You got the whole state of California going to become its own island. That's how bad it's that big, massive that earthquake is going to hit. You're going to have new islands that's going to form in the middle of the United States. Like I say, the Great Midwest, the heart of America, that's going to become islands and stuff after this thing hits. Okay. Okay, here's a map that was shared on Instagram. I screenshotted it a while back. It says this is the new USA after the San Andreas, Cascadia, and New Madrid fault lines finally go. As you can see, it's separated into basically 3 sections. Okay, you see that there? This is the future. When all them earthquakes and the great earthquakes hit, look, man, it's done. Okay, look how much the U.S. is going to be underwater. Underwater and on fire. And you got volcanoes pluming, smoke and ash up into the air. This is Revelation chapter 16. Verse 18, it says, and there were voices and thunders and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh to give unto her the cup of her wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. You see? So that great earthquake is coming, man. Eventually. After the destruction, when them nukes hit, that's the future of what the continent, is going to look like. Okay, and this isn't the first time the Lord made a massive earthquake. He did the same thing during the time of the great flood of Noah. You had the earth that was once one massive land, continent, they used to call, scientists call Pangea and stuff like that. Okay, well, there was a great earthquake, and the Lord pulled apart that land and separated into the continents that you have today. That's why they kind of almost match up like into a puzzle piece. And as he pulled apart, that broke the crust underneath that contained massive amount of water under pressure. Okay, so water spraying out of the earth into the air, like it was like imagine volcanic eruption, but water shooting up into the sky. All right, that's what happened when the Great Flood took place, man. So you had massive geysers all over the planet that shot up into the air that created that catastrophic flooding. All right, so that lines up to where, why they find dinosaurs in different layers. I think it's called the hydroplane. I think it's called the hydroplane theory, I believe. I can't remember like that, but if you look it up on YouTube, hydro something theory, it basically explains the proof that the great catastrophic flood took place, and that's why in every single culture all over the earth, no matter where you're at, even if they don't believe in the Bible or not, their historical texts describe a massive flood event. Okay, so judgment is going to come, okay, in the form of earthquakes and volcanoes. That's part of it. It's part of it, man. So let's keep watch of these prophecies and see, what's coming next. That's all we can do, man. And stay prayed up and pray that the Lord, has mercy upon you to preserve you in these times from all these different things that's getting ready to hit. So with that, Lord's will, lessons edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem HaKadash, the honest our apostles and elders, great millstone, Tasha's truth and will well, and scientifically, hopefully, puts this truth on sincerity. Shalom.